Morning everyone. So this is cloud computing coursework and the team members that are involved in this project are Prachi, Ritika, Shriraj and Sheikh Basharat Hayat. Coming towards the introduction, in this project we have created a REST API that will handle request and also will return a response for the data that is being requested by the client, and the response will have the data that is being requested by the client. Also, we have created an application that is document creation that will involve various users, and also it will contain the information of those users. The information would be name and the phone number. Additional features that we have used in this application are we have used parameter passing in the request. So the parameter passing are name and the phone number that would be given by the client to the server. For security purpose, we have used origin as true so that no one else can access our application through a different URL. Also, we have used status codes for the request that are made by the clients. So the status codes can be 200, 400 that would be returned back to the clients. Tools used. So for developing this whole project, we have used various tools. The first one is Firebase database. This is a kind of open source database where different devices and different users can collaborate their data and use their data in order to modify, update, and delete the data. The second one is node.js. So node.js we have used for our application development. The third is Postman. We have used Postman in order to do the CRUD operations, and also we have used it in order to test our API. The fourth one is Visual Code Editor that we have used in order to keep all our code files. This is the basic overview of our whole project, the Node.js. So Node.js is an open source cross-platform backend JavaScript runtime environment. Node.js lets the developers use JavaScript to write command lines tools and for server-side scripting, running scripts server-side. So server-side scripts allow us to create dynamic web pages that is being sent to the user web browser. The next part of this slides would be described by my team member Basharat.
REST API. An API, or we can say application programming interface, is a set of rules that defines how application and the devices can connect with each other and communicate with each other. A REST API is an API that confirms the design principle of the REST and representational state transfer architectural style. REST is nothing but a controlling the data through the HTTP commands. It is a way of creating and getting and modifying and deleting information from the user. Postman has been installed to test our API, and we have used a Firebase database to initialize the function and libraries. CRUD operation. As we know, CRUD is defined as creating, and R is defined as reading, and U for update, and D for delete. As these four functions, so the create function is used to retrieve resource representation, or we can say the information with no modification, and get to request do not change the resource state. And the read function is very similar to the search function, and it allows users to search and retrieve the specific record in table and read their values. Update function is used to modify existing records that exist in the database. And delete function is obviously to delete the functions allows user to remove the records from the database that is no longer needed. Line will be explained by Shriraj.
So the database which we have used is a Fire database. Fire database is a backend as a service, BWS. It provides developer with a variety of tools such as developing with quality apps, growing their user base and earn profit. And the important thing is that it is built on a Google infrastructure. Firebase is categorized as NoSQL database program which stores data in JSON-like documents. So Firebase is a kind of NoSQL database and it is storing data in JSON-like documents. So yeah, these are the advantages of Firebase, why we have used Firebase for the particular project. Authentication, which is very important. It supports authentication using passwords, phone numbers, Facebook login, Google login, Twitter, and more. And SDK, Firebase SDKs can be used to manually integrate one or more sign-in methods into an app. Real-time database. Data is synced across all clients in real time and remain available when app goes offline. So as soon as the client updates the data will be updated to the server in the real time. So which is a very good advantage. Hosting. It provides very fast hosting and content delivery networks worldwide. So even if you are in one place of the world and the you can someone is at the other place, so hosting is very much faster for the web app. Testing lab. These apps are tested physically at the Google data centers, so which is a very good point. And the notifications can be sent with Firebase with no additional coding, where the people who are not aware of coding or who are at intermediate level of coding can also use this for free. So yeah, this is what the interface of Firebase looks like. This is the cloud Firestore, and these are the data collections which we created, and this is the name which we posted through the post method. And yeah, this is the index.js file which consists of functions, Firebase functions. This will take all the necessary Firebase functions needed for connection of the database. So then I have taken the Firebase admin, which will be given which will give an access to admin with the help of the key which is generated, which is a private key which should not be shared with anyone. Then we have initialized the app with some credentials to the private key, and then used an express to store the database in the Firebase, and then use cors for the login purpose. If the origin is true, then only the authorized persons can log, and if it is false, then no one can log into the database. So our data is very much secured.
Coming towards the last part, which is nothing but main methods that we used are get method, post method, update method, and finally the delete method. Coming towards the first method, which is the get method. So here in app.get, we use the request path, which is nothing but hello world. After that, we are passing two parameters, which is nothing but the request and the response. What request does is it requests for the data, and response is nothing but to send back the requested data to the client. So here we are using get method as it is a get method. So we have to select the get method and we have to pass the URL, which is the this path. Once we set up these settings, we have to click on the send, and then this particular line will get executed, which is nothing but it will return the status 200, and this particular line will be executed. As we have passed the parameters, this is the key and the value. So here the key is name and the value is Firebase. So this particular key, the value will be executed, which is nothing but hello world, the name passed as Firebase. Coming towards the post method, it is as similar to get method. Only thing is we have to change post instead of get. So the same request path has been used, which is hello world, and the parameters has been passed. Instead of get, we have to now use the post method, and we have to send or pass the URL and then click on the send button. this particular line will be executed, which is nothing but it will return the status as 200. And finally, as we have posted something, created something new, so instead of Firebase as it was used in the get method, now it has been used as YouTube. So once we pass it, we'll get this as an output. Coming towards the update method, update is nothing but we are modifying something. So here we use the method as patch. Particularly, I will find a user ID that I want to change or modify. So by this particular function, I will find an ID and then I will update it. So once we update, we'll get return as document updated successfully, else it will return as failed to update the data. Finally, coming towards the delete method, we are going to use delete method or the function. So what delete does is it erases everything and it deletes everything. Particular ID I'll be selecting, and that particular ID which I want to delete forever. So this particular function will delete that particular ID. Once it deletes, it will return document deleted successfully, else it will return fail to delete the data. So this is how we used all the methods, all the CRUD methods, and finally got executed. Thank you.